This is huge. How to lose weight. This question is asked so many different ways, but it all revolves around one thing: a caloric deficit. Now let me rewind time, take you back to when I was 17, 18, just getting into weightlifting, and my goal was this: get a shredded physique, get my abs to show, get my muscles to pop. That's all I wanted. So for a year or two, I kept at it. I kept lifting weights. I kept eating, not very nutritiously, and I had the hardest time making gains in the fat loss area. And here's why. It's because down here is a caloric deficit and up here is a caloric surplus, and I was bouncing back between those two, which eventually leveled me out to maintenance level. So I was going nowhere essentially, other than I was getting stronger, learning the form, and getting a little bit of muscle gain. But my muscles weren't popping like I wanted them to. So finally I came upon this thing called intermittent fasting. And intermittent fasting is what got me my first shredded physique. And it wasn't because I was doing intermittent fasting, it was because intermittent fasting was putting me in a caloric deficit without me realizing it at the time. And I'll do a video on intermittent fasting later, but for now I'm just going to stick to this subject. So, once I started intermittent fasting, I was in a caloric deficit. I started to see results almost instantaneously. I started dropping fat, my numbers were staying consistent, my body composition started to change, everything started to work because I was in that deficit. And by definition, a caloric deficit means you're burning more energy than you're consuming. So your body's going to change. So here's what I would do to find your caloric deficit and start losing weight, get your body's composition to start changing. First, find your daily caloric maintenance level. And I'll link a calculator in the description below. It will help you calculate that. Then, once you have that number, minus 500 calories from that number. Now, assuming you're lifting weights 3 to 5 times a week, you're doing some cardio, your body should start to see change, your body composition should change, you should start dropping weight. Ideally, you want to drop 1 to 2 pounds a week. That's sustainable. And yeah, I think that's all I got. And if you want more information on how a caloric deficit works, I've written numerous articles on this, but I'll link you to my blog in the description. Caloric Deficit Explained. It goes over everything, has a list of micro and macro dense nutrient foods that should get you started. I hope this helped clear some things up. Talk soon.